People say you need monk-like discipline, morning ice baths, and an unlimited supply of organic matcha to build better habits. You have none of that. Just a full-time job, bad sleep, and a caffeine problem. Here's how you rewire your brain anyway. The 5-minute sprint, outsmarting procrastination. It's 7 a.m. Ethan pours his coffee, sits down, and stares at his to-do list. The brain whispers, maybe we check email first, scroll a bit, refresh the weather app for no reason. Nope. Instead, Ethan picks the hardest task and does just 5 minutes of focused work. No warm-up, no rearranging his desk, just in. Why? Because of the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological phenomenon where your brain fixates on unfinished tasks. It hates loose ends. Starting the task, even for 5 minutes, tricks the brain into obsessing about completing it. It's like setting a mental cliffhanger. The brain needs to see what happens next. Even if those 5 minutes get interrupted, it doesn't matter. The activation energy is gone. He's no longer trying to start. He's just continuing, and that's way easier. The one conversation rule: brain chemistry via small talk. Around noon, Ethan steps away from his screen and talks to a human. Radical, isn't it? Maybe it's the barista, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's that coworker who always over-explains the printer. Doesn't matter. One real agenda-free conversation. No goals, no productivity, just connection. That tiny chat sends a burst of oxytocin into his bloodstream. This isn't just warm and fuzzy stuff. Oxytocin reduces stress, improves empathy, and strengthens your brain's ability to interpret social cues. In short, it keeps you sane. Bonus, regular human interaction prevents Ethan from becoming a socially inept hermit who only speaks in Slack threads and reaction GIFs. The learning loop, planting mental seeds at night. Before bed, Ethan grabs his notebook and writes down one simple open-ended question. Why do my best ideas show up in the shower? He's not trying to solve it, no Googling, no deep research, just curiosity on paper, like handing your brain a sticky note before lights out. While he sleeps, his hippocampus goes full night shift librarian, filing, cross-referencing, and linking ideas like it's building a conspiracy board. Except, the red string is neural wiring. This works because sleep doesn't just rest the brain, it reorganizes it. During REM and deep sleep, the brain consolidates memory and strengthens learning. Pair that with pre-sleep curiosity, and you've got the neurological equivalent of marinating ideas overnight. By morning, insights show up like weirdly specific targeted ads. In the shower, on a walk, mid-dishwashing. It's like your subconscious sends push notifications, just without the battery drain. The 90-minute work block, peak brain mode. At 8 a.m., Ethan sets a 90-minute timer like he's entering a time chamber. Phone, airplane mode, Slack, exiled. Email, banished. Spotify, only instrumental. Lyrics are the enemy now. Why all the drama? Because of ultradian rhythms. 90-minute biological focus cycles where your brain naturally hits peak alertness and performance. After that, attention starts to tank. Top performers use this rhythm like a cheat code. Elite athletes train in cycles. Musicians practice in blocks. Ethan? He's using it to crank through deep work like a guy who just realized the Wi-Fi is going down in 87 minutes. In those 90 minutes, his prefrontal cortex is in beast mode, solving problems, writing like a machine, or building things that normally take him half a day. And when the timer goes off, he doesn't power through, he takes a break, walks, snacks, breathes, then resets. By noon, he's done more than he used to finish all day, and his brain still has juice left for round 2. Silent mornings, the cognitive boot-up sequence. For the first 30 minutes of the day, Ethan doesn't speak, doesn't check his phone, doesn't even make eye contact with his inbox. No texts, no podcasts, no doom scrolling, just silence, coffee, and maybe a stare into the middle distance like he's buffering. Why? Because the prefrontal cortex, the brain's CEO, is like an old laptop in the morning. It boots up slow, hates noise, and crashes if too many tabs open too fast. Silence protects cognitive bandwidth. It gives the brain time to come online without being ambushed by Slack notifications, news cycles, or your group chat's hot takes at 6:43 a.m. It's not about being antisocial. It's about starting your day with your own thoughts, before everyone else's flood in. Silence isn't emptiness, it's the brain's stretch before the marathon moment. Mental load dump, evicting brain clutter. Right before bed, Ethan grabs a notepad and unloads everything clogging his mind like a mental purge button. Buy dish soap. Send follow-up email to Greg. Are pigeons technically government drones? No judgment, no editing. Just dump and release. Why? Because your brain is terrible at storage. It's designed to solve problems, not remember that your dentist appointment is next Thursday. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain keeps nagging you about unfinished tasks. By writing it all down, you give your brain permission to let go. This also calms the default mode network, the system responsible for mental background noise and those 2 a.m. thought spirals. The result? Less racing thoughts, deeper sleep, and 3 a.m. wake-ups wondering if you locked the front door. Teach-back trick. Kindergarten-level mastery. Each night, Ethan picks one thing he learned that day and explains it out loud, sometimes to his reflection, sometimes to his cat, who stares back like she's judging his logic. The rule, no jargon, no fancy words, just plain speak. If he can break it down so a 5-year-old or a feline would get it, it means the idea actually stuck. This is the Feynman technique, named after physicist Richard Feynman, who believed that if you can't teach something simply, you don't truly understand it. Teaching out loud activates retrieval pathways in the brain and reinforces neural connections, like turning short-term info into long-term recall through repetition and clarity. Plus, it's a weirdly satisfying way to end the day. Knowledge goes in, understanding comes out. And the cat? She's smarter than she lets on. One problem journal. Background problem solving. Each night before bed, Ethan grabs a pen and writes down one stubborn problem. No pressure to solve it, just put it on paper. How do I stop binge-watching shows at midnight? Could Bran have prevented 90% of the chaos in Westeros if he just spoke up earlier? Why does my left AirPod always vanish first? He closes the notebook and walks away. That's it. Here's the sneaky genius. By documenting the problem without rushing for a fix, he primes his default mode network, the brain's background task manager, to keep working on it while he sleeps, showers, or stares into space. It's like setting a brain post-it note for the subconscious. The next day, a solution might pop up while brushing his teeth or halfway through a burrito. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. Strategic ambiguity plus downtime equals unexpected breakthroughs. Vision. Reminder, dopamine with a compass. Right above Ethan's desk is one simple line, scribbled on a sticky note that's slightly curling at the corners. Build a life I don't need a vacation from. It's not fancy, no vision board, no 12-step blueprint to legacy, just a reminder of why he shows up every day. Why does this matter? Because the dopamine system in your brain isn't just about rewards, it's about direction. Without a goal, it starts chasing cheap hits. Another scroll through social media, another random snack, another YouTube deep dive into medieval carpentry for beginners. But give it a North Star, suddenly effort feels good, struggle has purpose. This one sentence helps Ethan point his motivation toward things that matter, instead of getting lost in the algorithmic wilderness. It's like GPS for ambition, only without rerouting every 5 seconds. Gratitude journaling, training the brain for good. Every night before bed, Ethan cracks open his notebook and scribbles 3 things he's grateful for. Nothing epic, just real stuff from the day. Nailed a work presentation. Coffee didn't spill today. Found parking on the first try, like some kind of urban wizard. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good exercise, it's cognitive training. It boosts serotonin, mood stabilizer, reduces cortisol, stress hormone, and retrains your reticular activating system, the part of the brain that filters what you notice, to scan for wins instead of dangers. Over time, this daily practice rewires your baseline from what's broken to what's working. It's like upgrading your brain's default software from fire drill to calm and collected, or at least slightly more chill than yesterday. Meditation. Brain hygiene in 10 minutes. Every morning, before the Slack pings start flying, Ethan sits down on the floor, closes his eyes, and breathes. That's it. No apps, no gongs, no levitating. Just 10 minutes of watching his thoughts float by like distracted birds, or emails he's choosing not to answer. Why does this matter? Meditation thickens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for focus, decision-making, and resisting the urge to tweet something mildly unhinged. At the same time, it shrinks the amygdala, the brain's fear center, meaning less reactivity and more calm when life throws chaos grenades. The result? Better focus, more emotional control, fewer overreactions to spilled coffee or passive-aggressive emails. Basically, meditation gives Ethan the chill of a monk, without needing to wear robes or move to the mountains. Morning walk, nature's brain charger. After crushing his first work block, Ethan laces up his shoes and steps outside for a 20-minute walk. No headphones, no podcasts. Just a silent stroll through the neighborhood, making eye contact with squirrels and rethinking life choices. The real goal? letting morning sunlight hit his eyeballs. Not directly, he's not a psychopath. This light exposure activates the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the brain's internal clock, which regulates melatonin and cortisol. Translation: better sleep tonight, better mood today. Plus, walking boosts blood flow to the brain and triggers the default mode network, the same network responsible for daydreams, creativity, and that random memory of an awkward middle school moment. And that's when the spontaneous ideas strike. New angle for a project, boom. Fix for that lingering problem, got it. Reminder to finally buy dish soap, yep. Ethan walks back inside, recharged, reset, and usually with one weird idea that turns out to be exactly what he needed. Daily win reflection, momentum before sleep. Right before crashing for the night, Ethan grabs his notebook and writes down one small win. Not a huge achievement, not a life milestone, just a single thing that moved him forward. Did deep work instead of scrolling. It doesn't sound groundbreaking, but it's exactly the point. This practice taps into the brain's reward system. Even tiny wins release dopamine, the chemical that says, hey, nice job, let's do that again. More importantly, it rewires Ethan's brain to value progress over perfection. It shifts the focus from, did I finish everything, to, did I move the needle today? Over time, those little wins stack up like Lego blocks. One day you look around and realize you've built a fortress of momentum. Also, writing it down feels way better than doom scrolling until your phone slaps you in the face at 11:47 p.m. Digital fast, unplugging the dopamine fire hose. At specific times each day, mornings, meal times, and that sacred pre-bed window, Ethan goes screen-free. No phone, no notifications, no just checking one thing real quick. This isn't about being anti-tech. It's about protecting his brain from constant dopamine flooding. Because here's the deal. Every ping, like, and scroll gives your brain a mini reward hit. But too much dopamine too often? Your brain's receptors get numb. Focus tanks, anxiety spikes. Nothing feels satisfying anymore. Not even that artisanal oat milk latte. So Ethan builds in tech-free zones to reset his neural sensitivity. It's like giving his brain a cold shower. Annoying at first, but clarity follows. And surprise. Without screens, meals taste better, mornings feel calmer, and bedtime doesn't involve spiraling into conspiracy videos about ancient aliens. Curiosity hour. Feeding the brain's inner nerd. After work, Ethan doesn't reach for productivity hacks or career advice books. He lets his brain wander into the weird corners of the internet. Obscure history? Yes. Weird science? Absolutely. Why flamingos stand on one leg? Obviously. This isn't about being productive. It's about being interested. Curiosity isn't just a fun personality trait. It's a neurological advantage. When Ethan follows his curiosity, it lights up the brain's reward pathways, releasing dopamine and boosting attention. More importantly, it increases neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections and adapt. The kicker? Curiosity enhances memory even for unrelated information learned nearby. So, while Ethan's deep in a rabbit hole about medieval plumbing, his brain's also remembering how to be a better communicator at work. Think of it as brain cardio, minus the sweat, plus the trivia. Brain food, fueling the machine. At some point, Ethan realized Doritos aren't a food group, not even a crunchy emotional support one. So, he made some upgrades. Salmon for omega-3s, which strengthen synaptic connections, basically improving signal strength between brain cells. Blueberries for antioxidants, fighting oxidative stress and inflammation, like little berry-sized bouncers for your neurons. Leafy greens for B vitamins that keep energy metabolism and neurotransmitter production running smooth. Eating like this isn't about going full Gwyneth. It's about giving his brain the raw materials it needs to focus, learn, and not crash at 3 p.m. Now when he eats, he thinks, is this a snack or a system upgrade? And yes, sometimes it's still chips. He's human. Iron mindset workout, short strength, big gains. Ethan doesn't live at the gym. No shirtless mirror selfies. No grunting like he's summoning a dragon. Just 20-minute strength sessions, bodyweight squats, dumbbells, pull-ups, and maybe a plank that ends in existential questioning. The goal? Build more than muscle. Strength training spikes BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that acts like Miracle-Gro for your neurons. More BDNF means better learning, sharper memory, and greater emotional resilience. Lifting things literally makes you mentally stronger. It also improves executive function, regulates mood, and increases testosterone. Yes, even the non-toxic kind. Ethan's not chasing six-pack abs. He's chasing grit, focus, and a brain that doesn't fry under pressure. And hey, Nice shoulders are a side effect. Sleep defense, guarding the brain's repair crew. Ethan treats sleep like it's part of his job, because neurologically speaking, it kind of is. Cool room? Check. Blackout curtains? Absolutely. Phone in another room like it's an emotional ex? Always. Sleep isn't just about rest, it's brain maintenance. Deep sleep activates the glymphatic system, which clears out metabolic waste from your brain, including beta amyloid, the stuff linked to Alzheimer's. It also helps consolidate memories, lock in learning, and reset your emotional baseline. In other words, skipping sleep isn't grind culture, it's self-sabotage with a yawn. Ethan protects his 7 to 9 hours like a Dragon Guard's treasure. Sleep debt? Not in this house. Napping? The 20-minute reset. Around 1 p.m., Ethan collapses into a horizontal life pause, aka a quick power nap. Not too long, just enough to feel like a superhero recharging his brain batteries. Science backs this move. Short naps boost attention, turbocharge memory, and smooth out mood swings without dragging you into the dreaded groggy abyss of deep sleep. Think of it as a mental espresso shot, but without the jittery hands, the frantic heart, or the urgent need to find a bathroom. It's like pressing the refresh button on your brain's browser, so you can keep scrolling through life with sharp focus and zero crash. Plus, naps are the socially acceptable way to say, I'm just recharging my genius. So set a timer and take one of those horizontal life pauses. Your brain will thank you. Ethan didn't unlock extra hours. He discovered micro moments. By stacking tiny science-backed habits, he quietly rewired his brain for focus, clarity, and consistency. Real brain rewiring isn't about being perfect. It's about starting small, stacking habits, and letting time work its magic. Pick one habit, slide it into your life. The rest will follow. Which micro habit are you trying out first? Drop it in the comments and smash that like button if your brain feels 12% more focused and 20% more hopeful. And hit subscribe if you're into ideas that stick, figures that sketch,